Oh, good stuff. All right.
We never come forward and say we don't need capital, capital, capital.
No cap. To be capped up.
10 o'clock on the gram, no you should check me. Here for an hour, I promise this talk is heavy. I'm cooking, just getting started, don't go asking if it's ready. Nah, I'll be damned like we bout to break a levee. I sweat all of this content, push my conscience to a beautiful dark, twisted fantasy. I'm a monster, my posture looking like we was winning Oscars. Far from an act, but still acting like we got sponsors. Define us by the work we do, you know the work of few. Willing to get down in the trenches for the perfect view. So if you at me, then be sure to mention purpose too. And alignment, we own it, far from consignment. I seen the light, it was blind to contribute this all the timing. Let it breathe till you find it. Get fresh, then set the table for guests. I told you that we was cooking, this compliments to the chef. Let's go.
Good morning, creative family, and welcome to another episode of Cook in the Late Night. I am your host, Cook, and as always, I'm excited to bring you the next in the creative wave industry with the minds that's going to help guide us to the next step. So I'm excited, right? Because we got the Sugar Chef with us tonight. And when I tell you, he's been on a run. Like, you might have seen him out in these DC streets in a couple places. You might not even see him in the streets. You probably seen him on TV, right? He's not used to this. He's used to the screen world. So I'm excited to bring him on. Matter of fact, what we're going to do, I'm going to give you guys a chance just to see a small smidget introduction to our guest is tonight. Let's give it a go before we bring him on. All right, so with that said, let's introduce and bring to the main stage the Sugar Chef himself. Please welcome to the stage, good sir. What's going on? I see. How are you?
I'm good.
Yeah. Please, for those who aren't familiar, take the time. Introduce yourself, good sir.
My name is Chef Padua Player, affectionately known as Sugar Chef in the DC area and all surrounding areas. Worldwide, let's just put it out. Let's say worldwide, right?
Absolutely.
I'm a Washingtonian. I'm Vallis Player's youngest baby boy. Grew up a native Washingtonian. Grew up in the northeast quarter of the DC area. And I have my own dessert boutique called Sugar Chef Desserts. And I'm excited to be here and speak with all the creative influencers out there and get all that creative juices and all that other type of stuff. So I'm excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you, and your story, like really looking into it, and really how you got started. Like, I know it started from, like you said, you saw a help wanted sign in the restaurant and just kind of went in there and got your gift started. Talk about what drew you into the baking industry, like specifically.
Well, growing up, the youngest of 7 kids, I was always in the kitchen helping my mother. And, I was always just, what can I say? She was really known for her home. Oh my God, you really doing that to me. She was known for her sweet potato pies and her homemade dinner rolls. So I was always helping my mother in the kitchen, snap the peas and helping her make her pies and her rolls and things like that. And, I just started doing little things at home. I always liked the step-by-step cookbooks because they showed me what things were supposed to look like. At one point, I thought a couple things growing up. I thought I was going to be, my family comes from a medical background, so I thought I was going to be a dermatologist at one point because I was really interested in skin, and I thought I was going to be a carpenter because I knew I was good with my hands. And then I tried to do a couple classes of that, and I was like, I was like, that's not for me. So
Yeah.
what attracted me most is that I was one of those kids that I love to have money in my pocket, and I was a kid, and I was downtown one day with my mom, and my mother was a nurse, and my sister was at the time she was a practicing medical doctor. So I was downtown with my mother one day, and we were right off of K Street, like K in Connecticut, right in that area, 19th and K, right around there. And she was taking care of some business downtown to a restaurant, had paper all on the window, had a help wanted sign. I was in high school. I needed some money, and I was like, okay, I need a job. So I started washing dishes, and when you work in the restaurant, you start doing a couple different things, and started doing prep work, and then I was always bringing little things into for the pastry chef to try, and some things that didn't work out for me, and I was like, what can I do, or what did I do wrong? And the next thing you know, that was started assisting her, and the rest is history.
Wow. So, wow, like, first off, like, so I want to just salute you for like that great vivid memory of like what got you into it, because I know for a lot of people they find themselves like, here and there piecing things together, but you really kind of remember the story. So I know your documentary is coming out soon, or the biopic, but one thing that really stood out for me was you took the initiative and kind of created this opportunity relationship. You had an interest in it, and you found yourself approaching someone who was skilled in that field. So talk about like, even I know you kind of answered the ad and the help wanted, but what kind of gave you that confidence to show like, hey, this is something I'm really trying to go in, and without stepping on toes?
I was assisting. Well, I consider this lady to be one of my pastry mentors. Her name is Susan McCry Lindenberg, and she was a well-respected chef in the area. She's since retired to New Mexico, but she showed me how to do, how to plate dessert. She showed me how to use a scale. She was really known for her French bread, her pumpernickel bread, her ice cream. She showed me how to do that. So that really kind of awakened my creative energy, so to speak. I knew that I was creatively driven. So that really kind of really sparked my interest in the culinary field. And, I was like, okay, I worked there for a couple of years, and then I went to culinary school, and then I came back and worked for the chef at a different place. And so it kind of grew from there. But I think that, when you're a creative individual, I think it's something that's innate, that's inside of your soul. I think that when you're really in touch with yourself, I really think that it's something that that you were really born to do. Sometimes it's a little challenging to figure out how you can like support yourself, monetarily, but I think that it's just something that you just can't shake off. You just know that it's inside of you.
Yeah, no, you did, and you answered it in a great way. And like, I'm thinking like, man, of course the show's called Cooking the Late Night, and I can't cook, so I'm like, man, it's not inside of me. It's me. I'm the problem, But talk about your growth. You ended up, you went to, I believe it was a Baltimore Culinary School, International School. What made you choose that particular program? Like, as you were coming up, what really spoke to you about that program?
Well, at the time, like I said, just being a native Washingtonian, and the youngest of 7, growing up in a single parent household, I wasn't afforded certain opportunities, so to speak. But my mother and I said, Mom, I think I want to do this. So I did a tour of the school, and they fed us lunch, and they showed us with all this, and they showed us what they were doing, and this and the other. And I was like, Mom, I think I want to do this. She's like, really,
Yeah.
baby? And I was like, yeah, I want to do this. So, we fill out all the paperwork, and next thing you know, I was on the MARC train going to Baltimore. It's since kind of changed names and stuff like that, but uh, that's what kind of started me from there. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, all right. So you're in culinary school. Your skill sets is working. You're starting to really advance in this field. What did opportunity look like for yourself graduating and I'm sorry, let me go back a little bit. Did you know that you specifically wanted to stay in kind of the pastry realm? Like as a chef, like what made you choose that particular field in a vast field of culinary arts?
Well, I tried savory. Like when I finished culinary school, I did try savory a little bit, and peeling carrots, and peeling potatoes, and shucking oysters. That just did not interest me at all. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
I would have focused on pastry, strictly pastry, and you know, again, watching videos and things like that, and reading books. I'm constantly reading books. It was
Yeah.
it was something that again just kept calling my name. I realized that I was good in it. My family loved desserts. At the time, I started doing orders and stuff for her. So I was like, what? I think this is where I want to be, and this is what I want to focus on. And once I finished culinary school, I started working at a wholesale bakery for a little while. And I was like,
Okay.
okay. So working at that wholesale bakery at the time, it was in Suitland, place called Gold Leaf Bakery, and it taught me how to do volume, taught me how to just mass produce in that sense. And I was like, okay, I'm home.
This
I
is
knew I
where
was
I
home
should.
at that point. I knew that this was a comfort
Yeah.
zone, and I knew that this was what I was great in.
Wow. No, I love
No,
that.
I'm sorry.
I was just I was like agreeing, like, all right, yeah, this is the place I want to be. Like this works out well. I like this, I'm glad that you found that niche for yourself. So
Yeah,
talk about
yeah,
the
I know it.
evolution and
Yeah,
becoming a personality, right? Because yes, it's good to have a skill set, and especially in the arts, but like what pushed you to those next stages where like you were like you went from just the chef to the sugar chef. Like how did that transition come about?
A lot of blood, sweat, and tears. Nothing came easy for me, but taking advantage of opportunity. I thank God that I had a great support system. It was family, it was friends, and sometimes, what I always tell people, sometimes your greatest support system will come from the most unlikeliest of people. Sometimes I think that family supports you in different ways, friends support you in different ways. So it started with that, just building a solid foundation in terms of the consistency in your product. You know, Word of mouth is always a strong thing. You pass your name along. Oh, I heard from you from a friend of mine. She said she really loved your cupcakes. So I want you to do cupcakes for
Yeah.
my son's party. And it turns out that person works for this person. And I grew my business that way. Literally word of mouth. It was uh, not only doing issues for family. I really my chef Yolanda. She was working with this lady named Suzanne Romero, and Suzanne Romero had a really good girlfriend of hers. She was working designing purses and was like a campaign manager for one of the congressmen, and started doing stuff for that, and just kind of a grassroots approach, word of mouth, blood, sweat, and tears, trying to put out a consistent product because you want people to enjoy your stuff. You want them to savor in the flavor of their hard work, and just kind of grew from there. But it was really, literally word of mouth and opportunity.
Now, and that's a key part that you spoke about. And before I get into like your, who's who of making things for, talk about like being prepared for those opportunities, right? Because I'm sure your phone rings and it's like, hey, such and such is calling. Like, have you ever gotten to a position you're like, oh my goodness, like this is a big deal? Like, do those moments come to you, or do you just find yourself like, I'm always ready, like, so I don't have to get ready?
Let me tell you something. It doesn't matter how many times you do, well, at least for me, I can only speak for me. No matter how many
Uh
times
huh.
you do TV, no matter how many interviews you do, I'm always nervous because you want to come off as, of course, likable, and you want people to
Uh,
be, you want to be relatable. So
yeah.
it's 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 just crazy. So I never take for granted, oh, I've done this a million times, blah, 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 blah. I always try to stay prepared. I always make sure I'm studying my stuff. And baking is like any
Yeah.
other skill. You never stop learning. I'm always reading recipes. I'm currently officially working on my cookbook now. Let me plug that a little bit.
Let's
So I'm
go.
always reading, always preparing, always testing. And you you really have to stay ready. You have to stay prepared. But just to go back a little bit, all of those trials and challenges that you had early in your career, they really prepare you for where you are today, I think. And I've been in the game for a long time, so all of those little glitches and hiccups and things like that that I've encountered, many years ago or even recently, they I really do think that challenges prepare you for bigger and better and greater things. So I thank God for
Uh,
all of those challenges that I had early in my career because they really prepared me for things that the fruits of my labor.
Man, I love that, and I love like not just the humility of it, but it seems like the alignment and purpose, right? Because you speak about how this is kind of all just ordained through God and just his kind of overseeing your life, not kind of, but overseeing and handing your life. I do want to just add this footnote: if you ever need test dummies for like a new recipe or some desserts, we are here for you as a community to test out whatever you may have. Just FYI, I know the cookbook's under work, so in case
Absolutely.
you want to run something, just something to put in your back pocket. But I think for where you are and what you've built for yourself, which is just an amazing brand. And I actually want to, before I get to any clip of it, right? I would love to know, like, how for you. How was it? What made you take that leap into getting on TV and showing your work? Because man, that's a jump.
Again, preparing yourself and saying, sometimes you just got to say, F it. You know what I mean? Literally. I was on my way home from work and I got a phone call and it was like, hey, my name is so and so, so and so. I'm the producer for this show called Sweet Genius on Food Network. And I was giving you information from David Guas. He said that you'd be a great fit and blah, blah, blah. David Guas was my old boss at DC Coast and 21 Federal, not DC
Wow.
Coast and Sabre. And she was like, okay, well, is this something that you would be interested in? I was like, oh, why not? And but actually, before I got the phone call, it's funny because I had coworkers emailing me the casting, and they were like, "Huh, you should really do this. You're good, and you could win $10,000. You should really do." And I was like, "Oh, I don't know." So I started filling out the application. I said, "Okay, I'll finish it later on." So then I got the phone call like a day or two later, and I was like, "Okay, this is destiny. I should really do this." And went through the casting process, and I just did it. And it's really about why not? It either
Sure.
you can stay where you are or push yourself and challenge yourself to do something that you may never do again, something that
Yeah.
will definitely give you exposure and an opportunity. It's like, why not? So I
Yeah.
just did it. I
It's
just jumped. As Steve Harvey says, I just literally jumped. What was going to happen? And I just did it.
so with that, I'm gonna play this clip. Like, I'm gonna just show this real quick for the audience to understand your world. All right, come back. Hey, I like the dance moves, man. I like how you giving it to him, man. Talk about just your energy, man. It's affectionate. Like it's something that just adds to your character. How like where did the person is this always been your personality, or did you develop it as you went into more media opportunities?
No, literally, my family, we come from a family of dancers. It's like, often when we have get togethers, like when we did have get togethers, we danced. I mean, my mother and my aunts and stuff, they would put on, Got to Give It Up by Marvin Gaye, and then we did the Soul Train line. It's just dancing was something, not only was the therapeutic for all of us, but it was something that just brought the family together. It's something that we would love to do. My mother loved to dance. She was a dancer. And it's just who I am. And one thing I learned about TV and reality making on reality TV, because essentially that's what those shows are. They're competition shows, but they're reality TV. So it really shows who you are. So if you have a difficult personality, then it's going to show it. And it's not something that I know for me, it's not something that I can hide or I can pretend to be. I'm happy with who I am, and I just try to be authentically me.
Nah, that's amazing, and I appreciate who you are. I appreciate who you are. The energy you bring. Like I was watching the clips, I was like, okay, we about to get it. Like there was the one with you dancing with the pants. I'm like, see, I don't even know what he's making, but I just want whatever is at the end, like whatever is finished. Like that's when they talk about making food with love. So, for yourself, I'm sorry if I cut out for a second, but for yourself, right? What do you find? What's your favorite dish to make for yourself? Like I don't get to talk to chefs often, so what's your favorite thing to prepare?
Man, more my favorite thing to prepare is something that I absolutely had no hands in. But I'm really a simple kind of guy because I've had the opportunity to work with so many phenomenal restaurants, high end, middle of the road kind of restaurants. I worked, for one of the best caterer in the area, and so I'm really simple. I mean, like when people ask me what's your favorite dessert, it's usually like I can do like warm apple pie, vanilla bean ice cream. Warm apple pie, vanilla ice cream. I'm good.
Nice. Okay. All right. So a nice warm apple pie. So that's now is that like your Thanksgiving? Like that's what you bring to the table, or because it's coming up. The holiday is coming up now. What's the family asking you to bring?
Oh, they're not asking me to bring anything because I'm not going. We're doing a virtual. Well, I know for me, I'm doing a virtual giving dinner. I don't think I'm going out anywhere.
Valid.
If I go, I'll just bring something I'll bring something comforting. I'll bring something comforting. Like, I'll ask my sister, okay, I think I'm going to come up. What do you want me to bring? And she'll say, oh, bring this. So I'll say, okay. Or if I'll just go and put it together, whatever. So, it's just usually whatever. It's always something homey, whether it's a cobbler or, I can't say what my sister says, but she always says, don't bring those, how can I say to be politically correct? Don't bring those canned desserts through here. You bring something. We want Black people desserts.
we want it's gotta have flavor.
It's usually something very homey or something that grandma made.
Nah, I love that. I love that. And we didn't even get into it. Like
she says, we don't want those canned desserts. We want something, we want to like dessert.
That I'm with sis on that one. Like, let her know we're on the same page. But it makes sense. Like we didn't even talk about it. Like, but being the youngest, right? The youngest boy and 7. Like, talk about like finding your individuality. Because I think that for those who have siblings, they often find themselves compared to siblings or held to standards of siblings. How are you able to kind of carve your own personality throughout that? Because I think that just who you are is so unique. Off rip, I would think that you're only child. Like, he got personality as someone who's just, it's the spotlight's always been on, but being the youngest in that space, how have you been able to just find yourself?
It's interesting that you say that because all of my siblings, they've had what I would call illustrious careers. Like my sister-in-law, well, my brother is an administrator with the city of Chicago. My doc, I, I just, well, I'm not gonna say I wasn't spoiled or anything like to see me. I think that, I
Valid.
think that like when we have family discussions, I was like, you know, yeah, I've had some family to say little things about me, like, oh, whatever, if I do something or I'm on TV, whatever. They don't care about that stuff. They just, boy, take out the trash kind of thing. So it's
You,
usually,
you can't be
I always say
famous
to
in
my
your family.
siblings, um, my brother, my mother, I don't know, my sister, my mother, my sister, they saved lives. They took care of people. So I think that what I do in comparison to what they did, I'm not going to say it's not much, but I think that God has a calling for everybody. And I think that, we're all put on this earth to do certain things. And I'm just like, you know, I mean, I just bake desserts. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I don't think I'm saving lives or anything like that. I'm passionate about what I do. I think I'm pretty good at what I do. So when people say that, it's like, I'm just making desserts. I'm not saving lives. I think I'm not building rockets. So sometimes I'm not minimizing what I do, but I just think that, in the hierarchy of it all, I think saving a life is more important than giving somebody dessert.
Well, yeah, especially if
But I
depending
don't
on
think
like,
being the youngest of seven, I wasn't spoiled. I don't think.
nah, I mean that's fair, and I will say, I can understand the grand scheme of things. Desserts might it's not saving a life, but it is happiness. Like dessert can be happiness, and that's something to be sought after in this world for a
Right.
lot of people. And so for you, like, all right, what's been the one phone call, like, what in your career? What was the one moment that either resonated where you were like, oh yeah, this is where I was supposed to be, or that one client that you were like, wait, who is this? Like, what was that moment for you?
Wow. That's a big question because I think I've had a lot of those moments. And I was just talking to a friend of mine the other day. I was reading something and I was just telling her because she had something phenomenal that just happened to her. And and I was just like, we have to celebrate the small things because you look at all these things and it's years, 3 or 4, 5 years, and you just think, oh, it's like wow, did you really enjoy the moment? But I think one of them, it's been several of them, but I'll just say, can I just do three? One of the big ones was I had did a political party, and we're going to talk about this.
Mhm.
So, you put it out there. I did a political party,
Uh-huh.
and I just did my thing, set up. I think I did cupcakes and other mini pastries. Set it up. You know, went on about doing my other stuff, and came back, got my equipment, and that was it. A few days later, I got a letter in the mail, and I'm like, oh, letter like, what is this? I'm like, the U.S. It had a seal on. I'm like, why is the White House? I was like, well, I know I'm not being drafted. I was like, look, is this the government coming after me? So I was like, so I opened the letter. I was like, oh my God, it was a letter from, it was Vice President Biden at the time. So I think
Yeah.
that was a pinch me moment. Another pinch me moment was having the opportunity to meet some really incredible celebrities that I've always loved and enjoyed them. Like one was when just growing up, I always loved this woman, Jodie Watley, just doing work with her and, having posters up and reading, watching her videos on TV and stuff like that. It was just amazing to meet her and for her to appreciate what I do and for me to, that was a really incredible thing for me. Um, doing Food Network, something I never dreamt of ever doing. So, I've had several pinch me moments. And again, I'm really blessed for each and every opportunity that comes my way. I'm thankful. I realize I'm really standing on the shoulders of so many. I have so many friends that are doing amazing things and they continue to motivate me and inspire me to keep pushing and keep moving forward. So I'm really great to be surrounded by loved ones that keep me going and keep me motivated in times like this. And just I'm really grateful to have the gift of creativity and just to be able to
Yeah.
keep moving forward and just to always stay inspired with whatever I'm doing. So I'm really grateful in that respect.
Man, I'm just a fan of this, of your story and your journey, because I think that with as far as you've come, or as far as you've gone, there is a consistent just tone of humility that I can appreciate, and I'm sure anyone out there should be able to appreciate as well. My question for you, because you touched on this a little bit as you talked about like your circumstances growing up in your professional career, since you've graduated, since you've been active, what has been a moment of adversity that kind of could have just caused you just to kind of hang up the chef hat, right? Like, what was a moment of adversity for you in this career, and how did you push through it? Because that in those moments are a lot of times just things that can help the next person behind us. So what was that for you?
Um, well, it was a couple of them. One moment in particular was I interviewed, I think, as a pastry chef of this hotel out in Virginia. And I want to say, well, I can't say, well, I won't say the name. And, showed up looking nice, had on my little briefcase at the time. And the chef, the executive chef, he was just incredibly nasty to me. Reason. And I've had a chef say to me that, well, he said to me later on, he was like, oh, well, I really couldn't tell uh, who you were from your name. And I'm just like, okay. So I just whatever. So I ended up calling back to the HR person later on. I was like, oh, my interview yesterday with the chef didn't really go so well. I don't know if he was just having a bad day or whatever. She kind of glazed it off, but I was like, but I've had situations where I'm overlooked for things. I've had situations where um, some people think that they'll give you a half a loaf when I know I deserve an entire bakery. Um, I've been in situations where people just say nasty things, and they don't. My mother always taught me there's a lot of truth in the joke, and I just kind of take it for what it is and take it for face value. So the thing that I always how I push through it, I realize I always talk to my sisters and brothers about it. How I push through it is that I realized that my mother, she was taking care of a lot of affluent people in the DC area, and just growing up, we would things like that. She would just talk about how some merchants were so nasty, or they would drink and they would be so nasty, and they would say nasty things or whatever. And I can just remember saying, "Well, Mom, how did you deal with that?" She said, "Well, one of the things was just, I prayed about it, and I realized that in the end that these people really needed me, and and it's just interesting how sometimes your worst enemies will, be the same people that hand them a glass of water, and that was a situation with her many times. And I just kind of just dig deep into myself, and I think about all the lessons and the challenges that my mother went through, and just remember what she taught me, and I just pushed through it, and I just think that I'm really standing on the shoulders of many, like I said before, and I just realized that if I'm through this, and it's in 2015, 2014, whatever year it was, imagine what they're doing, in the 60s and the 50s and the 40s, what these chefs had to go through. So, I just kind of dig deep within myself
Wow.
and push through.
Wow. I mean, that so much truth in that, and so much to be owned for anyone who's tuned in and aligned, because like your mom had mentioned or had just kind of stressed to you guys, is that as much as of course the instant reaction from ourselves would be one of, well, look, forget you, kind of get in the mud with them. I think that mindset to really say, but I'm here for bigger, I'm here for greater, I'm here to still be of a service to these people around me, is just a mindset that's not adapted by many. So I mean, your upbringing is woven throughout the fabric of your personality, and I just want to say I appreciate who you are. And one thing that I wonder with you, as far as just your career, you've been on television, you've had opportunities. What made you come back to DC to really build out who you are? Like, what brought you back to this city?
DC is home for me. It's just a multitude of personalities, of people, of humility, of keeping my feet on the ground. So it's home for me. No matter where I go or wherever my career takes me, DC will always be home. And literally and truly, home is where the heart is. All of my family's based here, and my most fondest memories in my life have come from being in DC. So, I'm a native Washingtonian. I was born and raised in DC, and it's literally and really my heart is. Oh, and just one other thing, just to say in terms of adversity, and a lot of the young chefs coming up, sure, you can get on social media and you can say things, and I'm not saying that, because I think I have a bit of a mouth. So I think that, there are a lot of different ways to handle things, and I think you have to really handle things the best way that you see fit for yourself. But you have to think of the lesson that you learned in the moment, and you have to think of what's going to happen after it's over.
That's good. Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that's even that it's as good as that we are the world mindset could be. We are human and we do have reactions, but like you said, there's a cause and an effect. Like however you react, that's going to affect something else that you're a part of. So you're absolutely right in that. And again, I think that how you've handled things has been how you have received the blessings that you have to this day and the character that you are to this day. So how have you been able to position, how have you been able to kind of adjust through this pandemic? Like we're not going Thanksgiving with the family this year. What else has been like a change for you, and how have you been able to kind of keep yourself just active?
What's been the biggest change for me is not doing my annual events. I really miss doing, Chefs with Quality, doing, you know, uh, Halloween on Fox 5, doing a lot of my segments in person and not virtual. So the biggest adjustment is I think that I'm thankful that I have a great team that I work with. My brand manager, she's amazing. So we talked out a lot of different things in terms of how to pivot my business and how to keep, money coming in. I've talked with some friends about just things and ventures that I wanted to do, and what do they say? Um, not stuff I would try, but anyway, in desperate times, call for desperate measures.
Yeah.
So you when it's times like this, you really have to get on your, focus on your creativity and pull out all of the things that you wanted to do. And it's like I've had so many things that really forced. It's like, okay, no, you really need to start working on your book. You don't have this, you're not doing this, you're not doing that. Okay, start working on your book. So I'm documenting recipes every day. And I'm just working on other projects. Finally releasing a product. So I'm excited about that. So I would definitely have
Nice.
to send you over a sample of that. And maybe we can even do a little cooking demo on my. So yeah, desperation is the greatest um, inspiration for me because I know I needed to keep the bills paid, and you just kind of figure things out.
Look, I don't know if you saw. I had to look down to make sure. Like I'm gonna have all my contact over to you wherever I need to be. Time, place. I'm canceling things. I'm showing up. You just let me know where I gotta be at. That's all. Like don't let the slimness fool you. Now I could eat. I'm there. I'm present. I'm present.
Don't worry.
I love that adjustment for you. Um,
Oh,
I
I
think
know.
I think this year really has done a lot in terms of pushing people further into their passion, which I have appreciated. Although I acknowledge the unfortunate losses that some people have faced, the medical conditions or work setbacks that some people have faced as well. I've also seen a rise in people just digging deeper into things that they can create. So like you in this cookbook, like I'm excited for that. What kind of other things do you feel like, hey, like I can start to see myself doing this? Are we, because you talked about not deserving half a loaf and getting the whole bakery. We got a bakery come in. Like what are we looking forward to?
You know, I think one of the most important things I'm looking forward to the release of my book, hopefully by the spring of next year. Um, my product launch. I think those are things that I've been dying to do. And something that I love to do. It's one of the things that, no matter all the dessert menus I've done and developed and curated, I've always had something fried in my menu. So I'm super, super excited about that. I'm super excited about the process. Um, that's the biggest thing that's on the storefront now. I mean, the home front now. I'm of course doing more TV. I'm looking into that, and
Sure.
also we're going to plug this again. I'm in this competition called the Greatest Baker, and so it's a competition, it's a voting competition, and it's to benefit No Kid Hungry. So if you
Wow.
go onto my Instagram page, my Facebook page, my Twitter page, I have a link, and people can go there and vote for me as the greatest speaker. And the winner gets a feature in a magazine. It gets the year's supply of a product, and all gets $10,000. So those are the
Wow.
three projects that are really close in terms of now that I'm really looking forward to. But my cookbook is my main focus in terms
Sure.
of getting that done.
Well, I'm gonna tell you
And
this
what
right
you
now. I'm gonna make
what you
sure we
working
push
on?
it,
Yeah.
this voting for you. By the way, that's going to be a thing that we're going to make sure we push up throughout this episode. In fact, anyone watching or tuned into this replay, at the bottom ticketer, you'll actually see his
Vote.
Instagram page. Go vote, go support. Let's tune in. Like let's get this there. I'm excited. Like I'm voting twice. I got, especially if you can do it like from different email accounts. I got a couple. I got like 6 emails. So if I can do it from different
There you
emails,
go.
you got 6 votes coming. Your 6 votes coming your way.
There you go. There you go.
Um,
There you go. I
I
appreciate that.
appreciate
I
this. Of
appreciate that.
course, the bare minimum. Trust and believe the bare minimum. One thing I do love about you too is the personality you have is literally who you are. Like you reached out in the DMs and like your reach out was like jumped out to me. I was like, oh no, I need to bring him on the show. Like, how soon can I get him up here? And I appreciate you just making the time to be on the show as well. For me, the one thing that I always ask people that come on this show, and I would love to just ask this question to you now, before us closing out this discussion, just what does legacy look like for you?
I can't. You were breaking up. What did you say?
Not a problem. The question is just like, what does legacy look like for you?
Hmm. Hmm. What does legacy look like for me? Legacy to me and for me looks like an indelible impression on someone's life. That's it. That's it. And
I love it.
hopefully I've left a delicious imprint on someone's life.
There, hey,
Yeah,
look
but yeah, you have
from them pictures I
I appreciate
seen.
your platform and for you sharing your time with me.
Oh man, again, I greatly appreciate this conversation. And from the pictures we've seen, it's going to be a delicious legacy. Like we synced it, we done synced it. But again, one more time before heading out, because again, I just want to say thank you.
I
I'm
hope
gonna call you Sugar
you
Chef.
did.
You're Sugar Chef. You in these streets, Sugar Chef. Thank you so much, man, for taking the time just to come on this show and platform. I know you just plugged everything that you have
I
coming on, but
appreciate
one
it.
more time, let everyone know one more time how we can support, where we can follow you, and those things that you have coming up.
Okay, on Twitter is at Sugar Chef. To place order.com, SUGACHEF.com. You can vote in the Greatest Baker competition. I'm in second place. I still have a couple hours of voting time. I think about a little over an hour voting time. And that link is in my bio on Instagram, and I have those links on my page. But again, thank you for the opportunity. And I knew it was going to be a great show because you had my girl Britt on here, and I did the golf show with Britt. So I know if Britt is involved, I know it's going to be a great thing. So
Oh man, that's a blessing. I appreciate that. I appreciate the sentiments. We're gonna look. We're gonna go run these numbers up for you voting wise. Everyone get on that. I'm gonna jump back on Instagram to make sure they know to run those numbers up. And with that said, man, thank you. We'll talk soon. And I'll tell you, stay cooking, but clearly you're going to.
oh yeah, I have no choice.
No worries, no worries. All right, well, we'll talk to you soon. Take care.
All right, man. Thank you.
Take care. All right, look, my creatives. In fact, we're gonna switch over my creatives. That was just another amazing conversation. I just want to again thank the Sugar Chef for being a part of it. Man, his story, his energy, personality, and trajectory, it all shows what it looks like when you tap into your gift and your calling and you follow it wherever it leads you. So to all my creators, I hope you guys are ready to go. I hope you know where you're taking us next. Good morning to all my creators and stay cooking. I'm out.